Hi, welcome to another installment of the Whitaker-Myers Wealth Managers What We Learned in the Markets This Week video. Today it's Casual Friday at our office here, so I'm taking part and enjoying a little bit of the dress downness of the weekend. Now remember, our aim with these videos is to provide you, our valued clients, with a brief video giving you information that's helpful to your understanding of the markets while also drowning out the agenda of the news media in America. So the four things that we learned in the markets this week, let's start with number one. This week, you've probably noticed, if you've looked at your account, the S&P 500 gained 2.13% on Wednesday to jump to 4,200 on the S&P 500, which is the highest level we've seen since early May. This was delivered because the headline consumer price index for July rose 8.5% year over year, but that was flat compared to June, signaling a slowing down in inflation. How long will it take for wage and inflation trends to return to normal levels? Well, history suggests that during times of higher than normal inflation, and we had those times during the 70s, the early 80s, and in 1990, it took 1.5 to 2.5 years to reduce the pace of wage and price growth. And in each scenario, there was a recession that helped reduce aggregate demand and weaken the labor markets. So far, no recession for us from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Point number two. One question a research firm, DataTrek, we follow asked this week is, what is the sustainable level of U.S. corporate profitability over the next 3 to 5 years? Well, let's consider two facts. First, in quarter two of 2022, nominal U.S. GDP was 17% higher than quarter two of 2019. Over that same 3-year period, S&P earnings are up 39%, which entirely explains why the S&P 500 index was up 41% since that quarter three of 2019. These companies have done an excellent job adapting their business models to a pandemic and then post-pandemic economy, aided in part by fiscal and monetary policy, no doubt. Warren Buffett once said that never bet against America. And what he meant by this was never bet against American companies and their ability to grow profits. As of now, most forecasts call for recession around the second half of 2023, which means we could continue to see meaningful earnings growth over the next 2 to 4 quarters, proving positive for stocks. Point number three. In regards to point number two, U.S. companies' earnings growth is highly dependent on non-U.S. markets. As of right now, 41 cents of every revenue generated by S&P 500 companies is generated outside of the United States. Now, Europe has been hit hard with an energy crisis brought on by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Additionally, China can't seem to get out of its own way with the pandemic and their insistence on a zero COVID policy, probably at this point, for no reason other than pride. And so to make an accurate prediction on earnings of growth of U.S. companies, one needs to pay close attention to the economies around the globe, which we certainly are. And then point number four, the Great Resignation. We've talked a lot about this on these videos. This is the concept of a massive amount of people switching jobs since the pandemic. We only need to look at Google search trends to understand this concept. U.S. volumes on Google for quit job are up an average of 14% since the pandemic. The top states searching this are California, no surprise, West Virginia, one of the markets we serve Dave Ramsey in, Oregon, Alaska, and Rhode Island. Now, why does an investment firm like us care about this in regards to the market? Well, one of the key drivers of inflation has been wage growth. The more money you have to spend because of unprecedented raises, the more inflation is being pushed forward. When looking at average raises, those folks that quit their job received an average raise at their new job of 8.5% in July, while those that were job stayers, stayed in their job, only grew by 5.9% in July, down from 6.1% in June. The pre-pandemic record for raises was 5.2% in April of 2001. This will continue to be high-frequency data that Fed Chair Jerome Powell will look at to determine where he thinks the market is at in terms of inflation, therefore giving us an indication as to when the Fed's interest rate barrage we've been dealing with will begin to slow down. Now, in regards to job changers and quitters and getting new raises, that's obviously a wonderful time for you to sit down with your advisor to talk about what should I do with that old 401k, What does my baby step 4 look like now that I maybe have that 8.5% raise that we just talked about there? So certainly feel free to go into the notes, schedule a meeting with your local advisor. And if you don't have one, or you're just trying to get that baby step 4 started, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. Thanks so much. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.